The Swami couldn't come this morning because he's speaking with some of the candidates for initiation. Tomorrow there'll be initiation, and those who don't understand English he wanted to talk with them today with the translator so he could explain everything so that tomorrow will not be confusing for them. So I apologize for that. It was my mistake. I was asked yesterday, what is Maharaja's program for tomorrow, for dimanche, for Sunday? And I looked at the program and I saw Swami Suhitananda's name, and somehow I saw that, and I saw afternoon session in a line. And so I thought it was he was speaking in the afternoon session. So I'm going to say a few words. Je ne peux pas remplacer Swami Suhitanandaji Maharaj. I can't replace Swami Suhitanandaji Maharaj. And I'm embarrassed to even be here in a place where he was supposed to speak. But that's the necessity of the program. So I want to say a few words to you. So since he was supposed to speak, let me say a few words about him, and then I will turn to another subject. In my introduction for his first talk here the other day, that was Friday, I told an incident about him, and I want to tell another thing about him that shows the character of the man. Coming here to France from India, he's very careful about his food, he's careful about his rest, careful about his schedule, and so one might think, oh, he's so particular about his health. So yesterday he told me that not because the subject arose, he just in the course of conversation, he said, I have to be so careful because people have come here expecting initiation. Some of them have come from far away. One lady is arriving today who's coming all the way from India to get initiation from him here in Gretz. Others have come from Norway, from Spain. Another gentleman is arriving from Spain today to get initiation. So he told me, the people have come with the expectation of initiation. If I fall sick, what will happen? If I fall sick and I can't give initiation, and I'm only here for tomorrow when the initiation is to happen. I can't wait for a week when I'm well to give initiation, and so I have to be very careful. So again, that's a sign of the quality of the man. He's a truly great man. I've known a number of people in our order, Swamis, who have worked under him as novices, as brahmacharins, and as Swamis, and all of them speak extremely highly of him. He is a man of great kindness, très, très gentil, beaucoup de gentillesse. He's a man of deep kindness and friendliness, openness, liberality. And so it's a great blessing for us to have him here. And I'm sorry that he's not here with us this morning for my own misreading of the schedule. But he will be here this afternoon. He will, in the plenary session this afternoon, we'll have him speak for a short time so that you will get to see him again and hear him again. Again, a great man. Let me also say that it's a great occasion for the Centre Vedantique Ramakrishna here in Gretz to have him and to have all of you and to have all of these people who have come here to share with you and your participation as well. When, as I said the other day, not all of you were here the other day, so it will bear repetition. When I heard that Swami Suhitananda was coming to Ireland at the invitation of our Swami here, Swami Shantivratananda, I asked Swami Suhitananda, you're going to Ireland, can't you come to Gretz as well? And he said, yes, I can come. Immediately, he said, yeah, he didn't hesitate, he didn't say, well, let me look at my schedule, or let me see, I might be too busy. He said, yes, I can come. Which also is indicative of the type of man he is, open and free. Often a person with such responsibility as he has, vice president of the worldwide order and things, they're surrounded by so much ceremony, and yet he's a person without ceremony, without external ceremony, because he carries his presence internally, not imposing it externally. So I asked him, can you come to Gretz? And he said immediately, yes. But I wanted him to come here because I've known him for many years. I've known him since probably around 1977. I lived in Bellermut at the same time with him when he was General Secretary from 2012 to 2017. And I saw him, I was there when he became Vice President of the Order also in Bellermut. So I've always been very close to him. But I wanted him to see that the Gretz Ashrama is living, vivant. Full of elan, full of life, full of spirit. And so it's a great occasion for him to see Gretz, to see all of you, and a great occasion for all of you to see him. A place becomes a holy place how? How does a place become a place of pilgrimage? How does a place become a holy place, a place with spiritual vibration? It becomes such by the people who are there or who have visited there. And so having a great man like this come to Gretz builds the spiritual atmosphere here. We had the great blessing in Gretz of having a great saint of the order, Swami Amarananda, who was the founder. And before he died, he walked around the property chanting and giving a blessing to the land. And he said, after walking around the property, that the blessing he had given would last for a long time on the property here. So we had a great saint here, then Swami Ritajanandaji, whom some of you knew, and I knew very well. I knew him much more than I later got to know Swami Vitamoananda. I knew Swami Ritajanandaji very, very, very well. I spent a lot of time with him here in Gretz and in America. He was a great and saintly man also. And then Swami Vitamoananda, my predecessor, he was a great man as well, one whom most of you knew, a very great and loving man. And so it's these people who make a place a holy place. It's that which you feel when you come to Gretz, when you come here and you feel that there's a special atmosphere. I've seen here, as I've seen in our centers in America, even ordinary people, ordinary workers who come, who have no idea what the strange Vedanta sect is, these strange people who go to this Vedanta sect, who they are or what they do, but they come in and say, I feel something different here. I feel something different here. That's created by the people who come. It's created by people like the founders and the successors here. Is created by visits of great men like Swami Suhitananda and great women. We have had great nuns who have come here as well. It's amplified by the people who have come here as intervenants, as participants in the program, and it's amplified by all of you. When you come here, when you sit for meditation, when you sit in the shrine, when you chant, when you meditate, when you laugh, when you dance, when you sing, all of that, you're building the atmosphere here. And that will be a heritage for generations. It will be something that for future generations, for hundreds of years, people will come here to feel the atmosphere which is being built up. You are part of that process. You're part of that process. You're participants in that process. So, as I say so often, Gretz is here for you. But let us not forget the great contributions made by our predecessors, those great swamis who came here, other great people like Papa Ram Das and other saints who came here. In the early days, Swami Siddheshwarananda was very well known, and Indian spirituality was unknown in France practically, except among scholars, entre les érudites. But otherwise, so if you came to find out about Eastern wisdom, you came here to the Centre Vedantic Ramakrishna. And so great saints passed through here also of other traditions. So let us not forget what has been built here. And it's our responsibility to carry that forward, to carry forward an atmosphere of spirituality, an atmosphere of holiness, it's an atmosphere of benediction, and an atmosphere of tranquility, peace, shanti. And we will be contributing for the welfare of others. That also is a form of karma yoga. We are benefited by coming here. Yes, I myself, when I was called, when I was in Houston and called and asked if I would come to Gretz, I was so delighted because in one way it was a sacrifice for me because I was building up a new center in Houston. It was a great challenge, but a creative challenge where there were many possibilities. It was a new center, many things could be done. And one of the ideas I had in my head was Gretz, because Swami Vidyatmananda, a great American Swami who lived here many years, some of you knew Swami Vidyatmananda. He was the manager of Gretz with Swami Ritajanandaji and later with Swami Vita Mohanandaji. He had told me in 1975, he said, and these are his words, I think that Gretz is the model for the future of the work in the West, where the need is no longer to have just city centers where people can come, listen to a lecture and go home. We need places where people can come, stay for some days, meditate, take classes, immerse themselves in ashram life, immerse themselves in the atmosphere of the ashram. So that's what I wanted to develop in Houston. And then suddenly I get the call asking me to come here and telling me, as some of you know, you need to be there within 7 days. At the most, 10 days. When I was in the midst of building up the Houston Center with so many things planned and so many programs and other things in front of me, coming immediately. But for me, it was a great blessing because here, what I wanted to build in Houston, it already exists. It already exists. We already have the physical facility. We have the buildings. We have the place where people can come to stay. That's what I was beginning to build in Houston. But here it exists. There I wanted to have something of a Vedanta university. And here we have l'Université de l'Homme here. Some of you are professors in that university that Swami Bhitamohananda started and that Swami Siddheshwarananda had conceived. And so for me, all of that is to say, it's a blessing for me also to be here. It's a great blessing to be here. It was not a sacrifice. Some people ask, well, it must have been difficult. You were connected to the lives of the people in Houston. You were developing a work. You had just purchased a large piece of property, more than twice the size of Gretz as far as property goes, but it was just land, nothing but land. 92 acres or 37 hectares. So a lot of land, but it was just land. But Swami, you must have sacrificed a lot to come here to Gretz. No, it was a great gain for me to come here, to be among these beautiful people, the devotees of Gretz, the friends of Gretz and the devotees of Gretz, and a place which has already built up a spiritual atmosphere. Here we're adding to an existing spiritual atmosphere. It doesn't have to be created, it's here, one can feel it. So here, for me at this age, it was a great blessing that I got to come here where the infrastructure is here, the people are here, the atmosphere is here. And so now in the remaining years that I have, with what remaining energy I have, that I will dedicate to Gretz and to France and to Europe. But it was no sacrifice at all. It was a great blessing that I was asked to come here. So let me not take more time because we have other speakers here. Again, it's with great humility that I stand in the place of Swami Suhitananda today, because again, je ne suis pas une substitution. Je ne peux pas le remplacer. It's impossible for me to replace him or to substitute for him. But I wanted to say a few words.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, devotees, and our honored speakers. Vedanta, see, is something which caught the interest of the English people from the very beginning. Warren Hastings was the man who consolidated British Empire in India. And this man writes the foreword of the English translation to the Bhagavad Gita. Therein he mentions that the British Empire in India will be one day a matter of history. But even then, the message of Gita will go on being spread from source to source. So this is something remarkable, you see, because if you compare the Muslims who conquered the area around Delhi towards the end of 12th century, it took more than 450 years for a Muslim prince or something like that to enter into Upanishad. You see, it is Darashka who did it. You see, it is a tragedy that he was killed by his brother, but it is Darashuka, the eldest son of Shah Jahan, who built the Taj Mahal. He did the translation, Upanishad. So this Upanishad, you see, Aurangzeb, his brother, tried to destroy it. But anyhow, one copy was left. And it fell in the hands of a French general in India. This Frenchman gave it to Akitil Dupero, who was already in India. His brother was a consul in India, and Dupero, the main your idea in those days was translation from Avesta. So then he got this, you see, copy of the Upanishad from the French general, and he translated it in Latin and in French, but he published it only in French. It happened in 1801 and 2. So this is the beginning of the modern interest in Upanishads in the whole West, especially it attracted the attention of the German scholars, and they took it with great interest. So this is something to be noted, that of course Germans think that these ancient books were written by their ancestors. It may be correct, it may not be correct, we cannot say anything about it definitive. But the thing is that this gave them a zeal, an interest, added interest to enter into this Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, etc. Now, already Rig Veda had been translated, you see, in the 19th century in Germany. And then, of course, Rig Veda is not the Upanishads, but there you get something, you see. For example, the Purusha Sukta. Purusha Sukta is Upanishadic in character. Though it is a part of the Vedas, it is the character of the Sukta is Upanishadic. And so, see, the interest that was created, it was sustained by other things. Other things means gradually and gradually people found out and that you see that the roots of this, the roots you see, because in ancient days the whole of Europe is to try to imitate Greeks, you see, and the Greeks in their turn tried to imitate the Brahmins of India. The reason is this: of all countries, India had this particularity that it reserved for a section of the people. That means they made it in such a way that a section of the people would not enter into any activity except for religious rites, study, and preaching. So left it to Brahmins, that means they should not take up any other work. They should do only this. So generation after generation, when it happened, it created a tremendous effect. It created a tremendous effect. That means you see, preeminence regarding these matters of knowledge, they say, and this news spread to all parts of the world where civilization was there. The news came to Greece, the news came to China. So from all these directions, you see, people tried to enter into India. Those who wanted to, you see. So this way, Pythagoras most probably entered into India, because Pythagoras was not a great mathematician as it is people think of. The hypotenuse, etc., he took it from the Vedas. It is the Vedic mathematics which is there. You see already all these things. So he just knew it, and that's all. But his main interest was in the destiny of the soul after death. And he used to believe that the soul reincarnates again and again. And these ideas he got from India, Pythagoras. Later on, from Pythagoras and other sources, this came to a climax in the personage of Plotinus. And he was, for 11 years, this man was studying this yoga, Vedanta, etc., etc. And his disciple Porphyry found him in the state of samadhi 4 times. he was really inside it. Uh, so that way, you see, uh, that is the ancient thing, of course. And then Europe forgot the contribution of India. Europe forgot that whatever mathematics they learned from Arabs, Arabs took it from India. So, anyhow, that is another question. Coming to the modern age, then we have finally, this is, we talked about Duperreau in the beginning of 19th century. Towards the end of 19th century, find Vivekananda, active in America and also somewhat in Europe. And that created another kind of interest, because reading Vedanta is one thing, and seeing a man who is incarnating Vedanta, you see, that is another thing. So Vivekananda. After Vivekananda, of course, you see, he created such a star in India. He was taken as a national hero, and the fact that he died early, you see, also triggered something. You see, because in 1905, 3 years after his passing away, the Bengal was in great agitation, you see, against the British rule, especially because the Viceroy tried to divide Bengal in the name of good administration, but actual idea was to divide Hindus from Muslims. That was the idea. So against that, there was this agitation, and this agitation spilled over to the whole of India from Bengal and created the movement which in 40 years' time brought about the freedom of the country. So this is one thing, and this Vivekananda's heritage was taken up by the order he established. He himself sent his brother disciples. You see, 3 of them were sent to the West. Then other monks were also sent during his lifetime. So, and then it is continuing. And apart from our order, the other great your masters like Krishnamurti, etc., they had their also contribution. And you see, we do not know the mystic achievement of Krishnamurti, but anyhow, his talks captured the attention of certain people, you see. And then we have this Mahesh Yogi. Mahesh Yogi's transcendental meditation. You see, all meditation are really transcendental, I say. So transcendental meditation, anyhow, that is the name given to it. That has made possible you see, because scientists studied it, studied people under this transcendental meditation, and found that there is a link between meditation and stress management. So that is the historical contribution of Mahesh Yogi. So these masters, and from our order, the great Swami Ramanathananda, who was a teacher and who toured the whole world several times. So that also contributed. you see. So these are the great things I should mention. you see. And today, whoever comes to, because Vedanta is such a thing, studying is one thing, but if you try sincerely to imbibe a little of this, your life will be transformed. You are not the same person then. You see, you know how to manage your problems. You know how to keep the inner stability, you see, apart from other things. And the kind of peace and joy which will surround you. You will not be overwhelmed by any problem, you see, by any problem, not even your, you see, disease and impending death. You are not, you see, cowed down by it. So these are the things, you see, which Vedanta can give you. Thank you all.
Oui, donc le sujet que j'ai pris pour aujourd'hui, donc je vais commencer en plénière et puis continuer avec d'autres explications et puis un petit peu de pratique guidée de Vedanta dans la séance ensuite. Donc, mais déjà, on va commencer par donner des éléments pendant donc une 12-15 minutes. Donc, Ramana Maharshi, donc le sujet c'est du corps vécu à l'expérience védantique, sensations, symbolisme corporel et base non duelle des expériences religieuses et spirituelles. Donc, un vaste sujet, je vais dire des choses là-dessus qui me sont venues à l'esprit. Donc, Ramana Maharshi disait que le Vedanta pouvait se définir comme Koham, Deham, Naham, Soham. Koham, qui suis-je? Deham, Naham, je ne suis pas le corps. Soham, je suis cela. Et donc, on sait bien quand on est dans le Vedanta qu'on insiste sur cette méditation « je ne suis pas le corps ». Voilà, mais comment faire alors, c'est vrai que dans le Vedanta aussi, il n'y a rien à faire, on est déjà le soi. Mais mon maître Vigne, qui était un grand méditant et qui avait été védantin toute sa vie, il disait, c'est tout à fait vrai qu'il n'y a rien à faire, ce que le Vedanta il dit est tout à fait vrai, mais il y a beaucoup à défaire. Le mais est important. Le mais est important, et des fois dans le néo-Vedanta occidental, on oublie les petits mais, et on oublie de détricoter, comme on dit en français familier, pas mal de choses. Voilà, donc ça c'est le travail. Hein. Donc il y a des nœuds qui attachent le corps au mental, et donc il faut voir ces nœuds et les défaire. Hein, pour moi qui ai la vue qui baisse avec l'âge, je vois de temps en temps que je veux défaire un nœud, puis je ne prends pas le temps de mettre mes lunettes, et c'est une catastrophe parce qu'on tire dans tous les sens, et à la fin le nœud est encore plus serré qu'avant qu'on ait essayé de le défaire. Et donc c'est comme ça aussi avec le mental. Hein, si on ne voit pas clairement où c'est les nœuds, on cherche à y aller par force, et ensuite les nœuds sont plus serrés, et on bloque encore plus. Donc c'est un conseil aussi de sadhana, d'abord voir clairement où sont les nœuds, détendre, et puis à partir de là, quand on n'a pas encore serré le nœud, il est facile à défaire, mais si on a forcé, à ce moment-là, ça devient compliqué. Donc la notion d'observateur est fondamentale dans le Vedanta. Nous allons réfléchir à partir de deux points de vue sur la capacité à s'observer soi-même, celui scientifique et celui symbolique traditionnel. Et soit dit en passant, c'est fondamental aussi dans les Yoga Sutras de Patanjali, hein, parce que juste après avoir donné la définition du yoga que vous connaissez bien comme l'arrêt du mental, il dit alors l'observateur repose en son essence. Donc c'est purement védantique. L'observateur repose en son essence, on a tout dit. Voilà. Donc du point de vue scientifique, et on va voir, et puis ensuite du point de vue traditionnel, donc on a maintenant tendance à distinguer vigilance et métavigilance. La première faisant attention aux objets, la seconde à l'espace qui entoure les objets. Et au fait, cette vigilance, cette conscience, c'est un sommet de l'évolution des espèces. Actuellement, on découvre de plus en plus que nous avons beaucoup plus qu'on ne pensait avant en commun avec les animaux, y compris au niveau émotionnel et cognitif. Cependant, cette capacité qu'a l'être humain de s'observer de l'extérieur et de se comprendre soi-même semble typiquement humaine. C'est ce qu'on appelle la théorie de l'esprit en neurosciences. Il y a probablement un lien avec les neurones miroirs. Les neurones miroirs ont été décrits par Rizzolatti, Giacomo Rizzolatti, qui est de l'université de Parme, et il a eu une sorte de prix Nobel de neurologie pour ça, parce que c'est très important en neurologie, ces neurones miroirs. C'est à cause d'eux qu'on développe le langage, qu'on développe nos capacités humaines. C'est beaucoup à cause des neurones miroirs. Et donc, le terme même réflexion, d'ailleurs, a ce double sens. Hein, c'est la réflexion comme pensée, mais aussi c'est la réflexion sur un miroir. Et donc, on a une conscience supérieure. L'être humain, donc, ayant plus de neuromiroirs que les singes, elle développe plus facilement une conscience supérieure qui reflète le mental ordinaire comme dans un miroir. Et on dit aussi que dans le Vedanta que le sage est comme un miroir du monde extérieur. Ou même on dit qu'il est comme le quartz qui laisse passer les couleurs et les formes du monde extérieur, mais qui n'est pas touché, puis après qui reste pareil à lui-même et transparent. Donc être réfléchi, c'est utiliser une conscience supérieure capable de produire une image en miroir de son mental de base, ce qui permet d'être à la fois bien conscient et bien détaché. Et c'est la combinaison de ces deux qualités qui fait le progrès intérieur. Dans la Bhagavad Gita, il y a Arjuna qui dit on ne peut pas maîtriser le mental, c'est trop volatile. En sanskrit, on dit chanchal, c'est 2 fois la racine de char qui veut dire aller, c'est-à-dire c'est l'intensif, quoi. Il bouge intensément, donc on ne peut pas le maîtriser. Et Krishna dit Vairagena, Vivekena Vairagena, c'est-à-dire par le discernement et par le détachement, on peut y arriver. Et donc, c'est ce que fait le mental, la conscience supérieure et qui est en miroir du mental de base. Elle est capable d'être détachée et en même temps, comme elle voit le mental, elle est capable de le comprendre. Donc, on a à la fois le détachement et le discernement. Et donc, ces neurones miroirs sont importants dans ce sens-là et c'est le propre de l'être humain. Alors, les Tibétains aussi ont tendance à distinguer 5 consciences, et celle qui est juste en dessous de la conscience absolue, c'est la conscience miroir. Voilà, et donc ce que fait le sage, il se met en miroir du soi chez ses visiteurs, chez ses disciples, et à cause de ça, il réveille l'énergie de soi, et ensuite les gens font leur travail par eux-mêmes. Et Swami Vijanda, donc, qui a été 31 ans et demi auprès de Manandamayi, dit que c'est vrai, il y avait des miracles autour de Manandamayi, mais elle disait elle-même c'était Bhagavan qui le faisait, et dans l'explication de Vijanda, il disait, elle réveillait le soi chez les gens, et ensuite c'était leur soi qui faisait le miracle. Et on retrouve ça dans l'Évangile, quand il y a des miracles autour de Jésus, Jésus dit « Va, ta foi t'a sauvé ». Voilà, il est clair là-dessus. Il faut réveiller quelque chose à l'intérieur de l'individu et ensuite il se sauve lui-même. Voilà. Alors, quand j'aurai un peu plus de temps libre, j'envisage de faire un rapprochement bien plus précis entre les neurones miroirs et les notions traditionnelles de la conscience supérieure comme miroir, parce que je trouve que c'est important, puis ça fait un lien qui est nouveau pour essayer d'appréhender des choses qui sont très importantes dans la tradition. Alors maintenant, une distinction qui est importante et récente en neurosciences, c'est la distinction entre l'hypervigilance et la métavigilance. Donc la première, c'est une réaction exagérée au stress qui peut avoir des conséquences négatives, par exemple des perturbations comme l'insomnie, une hypersensibilité aux problèmes relationnels courants, voire même une forme ou une autre de syndrome post-traumatique. Les gens qui ont un traumatisme, ils sont dans un état spécial, anxieux au fait, et du coup, c'est plutôt un handicap qu'autre chose. Mais c'est vrai qu'ils sont hyper vigilants à cause de l'anxiété. hein, il y a un bruit, il sursaute, il se méfie de tout, etc. Et c'est plutôt négatif. Mais la métavigilance, elle, est plutôt positive. Donc, on a déjà dit, la métavigilance, c'est la capacité de voir l'espace et ne pas être fixé par les objets. Voilà, sinon, on a tendance à faire tout le temps des fixations. Hein, en français familier, on dit faire une fixette, et en anglais, on distingue fixe en fixette. Un fixate, c'est faire une fixation. Et donc, c'est important comme différence. Hein, donc, on se crie sur quelque chose et on a donc une conscience qui a tendance à être ponctuelle et qui s'accroche aux choses et une conscience qui est plus euh, globale. Et donc, pourquoi on a du mal à lâcher? Le Bouddha déjà disait que c'était graya le problème, hein, c'est-à-dire s'agripper. Et donc, la solution, donc, c'est le détachement, le vairagya. Eh bien, je pense, dit rapidement, que c'est à cause de notre origine qui sont les lémuriens. Hein, on est des descendants directs des lémuriens. Et donc, vous connaissez peut-être les lémuriens à Madagascar. Ce sont des animaux un peu plus grands que des souris. Et alors, ils ont cette habitude curieuse et pas commode pour nous de dormir dans les branches d'arbres attachés avec leurs pattes arrière. Voilà, donc ils dorment comme ça. Et alors, descendant de ces gens-là, on comprend qu'on a un peu de mal à se relaxer. Parce que si on lâche, on se casse la tête. Et on a gardé ça en nous. Et donc, il ne faut pas s'en vouloir d'avoir ce réflexe d'attachement. Hein, ça vient de loin. Hein, c'est notre pathologie familiale. Voilà, donc on va faire la méditation de dépasser les ancêtres lémuriens. Voilà, et donc il y a aussi une manière de récupérer cette hypervigilance de façon positive, c'est la transformer en métavigilance, c'est la crainte du sacré. Hein, comme on dit dans le psaume, Initium sapientiae timor domini, c'est-à-dire le début de la sagesse, c'est la crainte du Seigneur. Hein, c'est très connu dans les psaumes, et ça a accompagné la culture monothéiste depuis longtemps. Et donc, c'est ce qu'on appelle aussi le numineux en histoire de religion, c'est-à-dire le sacré fait peur. Mais cette peur, ça peut être très utile aussi parce que ça nous cadre. On a peur de l'enfer. Ben, pour beaucoup de gens, c'est quand même important pour qu'ils ne fassent pas trop de bêtises. Et donc, ce lumineux, la crainte du sacré est important parce que ça stimule la métavigilance. La vigilance déjà et ensuite la métavigilance. Voilà, alors, pour conclure, une image me vient à l'esprit, juste quand j'écrivais, ça m'est venu pop comme ça, pour exprimer dans notre monde actuel l'utilité du Vedanta et de la non-dualité en général. Les croyances diverses et variées ont un aspect positif, sont une richesse, mais aussi un autre négatif, elles sont comme une jungle. Bon, déjà, il y en a beaucoup, puis on ne sait plus à quel sens jouer, c'est le cas de le dire. Donc, chaque croyance, certes, réunit une tribu, un groupe autour d'elle, mais on a le risque bien réel de provoquer un conflit avec les autres tribus autour. Le Vedanta bien compris est une autoroute qui permet de traverser toute cette jungle et d'aller beaucoup plus directement vers sa vraie destination. Il y a cependant un péage sur cette autoroute, la nécessité de faire une vraie sadhana, c'est-à-dire une pratique soutenue et régulière, accompagnée d'une vie quotidienne en cohérence avec cette pratique. Donc je termine par cette notion de cohérence. Voilà.
It's always very embarrassing to hear this. It looks like we're something. It's like more like a burden than it's less of a freedom. And I want to say something about Vedanta. Yesterday we had a very interesting panel about what is Vedanta for the West and how can we bring it to the West. I think it's a very important thing to reflect about, because Vedanta is Vedanta. And Vedanta is what it says. It's beyond everything. Vedanta is the end of knowledge. It's all the knowledge, but it's not it. It's not the knowledge, it's what's beyond the knowledge. Vedanta is like the black hole philosophy. Vedanta is like the tiger philosophy. We'll come to that later, to the tiger philosophy. Vedanta is that which is what Swami Krishnananda from the Divine Life Society, the famous philosopher of Divine Life Society, Vedanta is what he called the sun of the universe. It's about the universe. And it's not only the sun of the universe, it's the sun of beyond the universe. It's the sun of whatever is in time, space, and causation, and especially it's the sun what is beyond time, space, and causation. I have a cold, so you have to endure this. I'm sorry. So, this sun of the universe, this is what brings us together. This is what binds us. We're all in this universe. We're all in this universe at a special place right here for the moment, in a very limited space in the universe, in a very limited time in our lifetimes, but it brings us all together in the now, in this moment right here. And we're all connected. This is the song of the universe. The song of the universe is the primal song. It's the original song, what's called the Udgita. It's the song which is always sounding in our heart. It's the song which is always vibrating in everything, in every particle of manifestation, in every cell of our body, in every atom. It's the essence of every atom. So it's always there, the song of the universe. Now we have all this Vedanta and all these scriptures and the Upanishads, which are wonderful. And we have the Gita, we have the Brahma Sutras and whatever, and we can study. And we can study for ages and for lifetimes. And we try to understand and we try to get a little bit of this knowledge. And this can keep us busy. We try to grasp what it is about. We try to understand what it is about. But Vedanta, as it says, it's beyond knowledge. It goes further than knowledge. It is a very beautiful verse in the Taittiriya Upanishad. It describes the absolute. This describes Brahman. And the verse is, Brahman, or the absolute, is that from which all words and thoughts return without ever reaching it. So whatever we think, whatever we feel, whatever our understanding is, it will never reach or touch Brahman. It comes back without ever reaching it, because it's beyond everything. So this Vedanta, to study it, is wonderful, but we will not get there. It's impossible to reach, because it's already there, and it's very residing in our heart. So the song of the universe is what is binding us and what is driving us. It's both. In this song of the universe, there is a deep, deep, deep longing, original longing. And it's the longing which, according to Swami Krishnananda, that's not my ideas, I'm expressing his ideas. It's a very interesting thought. It's a thought about death and life. And we suppose that life begins with the Big Bang, and the universe comes into existence as the first second and the first millimeter of the universe, and then it expands and everything's happening. And we think this is the beginning of life, because after 13.8 billion years, mankind is coming there and we're all alive in that universe. But he describes this as death, bridging, because it's the reflection of the Absolute. And the reflection of the Absolute is the loss of unity. The diversity is the loss of unity. And at that moment, at the creation of the universe, at the moment of the Big Bang, there is an incredible disruption and there is a catastrophic change because unity has become diversity, or that's the way it looks, or that's the way we experience it. And from that moment, there is the deep, deep longing in ourselves, in every core of every atom in ourselves, for this unity. This is the song of the universe which we always hear, and which makes us dance, and which makes us act, and which is driving us in whatever we do. In the West, we have a description of the kind of music. There's 3 kinds of music, and it goes along with the song of the universe. The 3 types of music are the music we can hear, if there's some bhajans or an orchestra or a symphony, and it's very beautiful. The second music is the music inside, and then the third music is the music we cannot hear. It's called the music of the spheres, the music of the spheres of the universe. It's the same principle. Now, this deep, deep desire is why we're all here. And this deep, deep desire, if we recognize it, this is what is binding all of us. We give different expressions to it, but this is what binding all of us. As a young boy, this is what was bothering me. I was laying in bed when I don't know how old I was, young. Anyway, and the whole night I was thinking about, I was born in this body at this time of the universe, and I have this body which I didn't choose, and it might have diseases, and it might have good things and bad things and difficult things. And the same with the mind. I was born with a certain kind of mind and a certain kind of understanding things and maybe not be able to do other things with the mind. So I'm a very limited person, and I was born at a certain age in a certain culture with a certain religion, which I didn't choose, or maybe I did, and I was a male or a female. And the question was, as a boy, and this was my deep, deep question, how free am I in this life? How free am I in this world with all these limitations? Because we look at the world and we look at the universe from our very limited space where we are right now here, in our very limited time in this universe. The universe is supposed to be 13.8 billion years old, and we live for about 50, 60, up to 100 years, which is, in view of the history of the universe, which is nothing. It's practically gone, if you think about it. The American Indians have a very beautiful expression of it, what lifetime is. The lifetime is like the breathing of a buffalo on a cold winter morning. If you see a herd of buffaloes in the plains in the United States, and one buffalo is breathing in the morning, you see the out-breath for a second, and then it's gone. And this is lifetime in the universe, our lifetime in this universe. And we look at it from this earth, and there's 3 billion stars or trillion stars out there. And from this limited space, we're going to try to understand all this. In this lifetime, in this space, we're going to try to understand all this. You can see it's impossible. It's useless. But it still is there. This is the song of the universe. This is what Vedanta is about. Vedanta doesn't look from this space and this time. Vedanta looks from the universe. And Vedanta is even more than that. It looks from beyond the universe. It looks from the space beyond time, space, and causation. That's why it's always there. It's because it's beyond all this. it's easy to say this, but it's difficult to get along with it. This is what drove me, these thoughts about freedom. This is what drove me to India, first by a car and then by plane, and trying to understand what this was all about. One of the teachers, it's very nice here, we have a hall called Brahmananda Hall, and next to it, Shivananda. So this, my first, or one of the first teachers of the Vedanta and the Upanishads of Swami Brahmananda, and he was a disciple of Swami Shivananda. So this is perfect. And one of the first times I came to Swami Brahmananda, we heard this discussion before yesterday, I think. It was about illusion. That everything within time, space, and causation is an illusion. It's one line in the Jnana Yoga of Swami Vivekananda. It's a little blue book like that. Some of you might still have it. And he was expressing this. And as a young student, I thought, all this is an illusion. How is this possible? So I said, Swamiji, all this is an illusion, but the wall, it's a wall. And my head is my head. And if I bump my head into the wall, it's really gonna hurt. So I said, how can this be an illusion? And his answer was very simple. He said, well, what you're feeling is an illusion too. So it took about 10 years to digest this and to get along with the illusion. Because it sets you thinking and it opens up your mind and it shows a different perspective of things. And this is what Vedanta always does. At the end of all your studies, of all your understanding and misunderstanding and interpreting and trying to do something with it, Vedanta says if you did all this, that's fine. That was it, but it's not this. It's something else. There's never an end to it. Vedanta asks us a very fundamental question. It asks us, it's in one of the Upanishads, the Tejopindra Upanishads, it asks us to not go where people used to go or want to go, but it asks us to go where no one dares to go. And this is a fundamental thing if we want to get along with Vedanta. To be brave and to be capable of letting go. It's not about acquiring, it's about letting go. And to go where no one dares to go. Vedanta will bring us to the edge. And Vedanta will bring us to a very edge of everything. And if we're at the edge, it requires us to jump without a parachute into a black hole. Maybe it looks scary to some people, but maybe it's attractive to a lot of people. I found it was very attractive because it's unlimited. And whatever we try to understand, we make conceptions of it, and it limits our view. And to be limited is being in prison. And Vedanta has the promise to be unlimited. It's unlimited, limited. There's a company of unlimited. So this is the attractive thing of Vedanta. Now there's one story I like to tell about Swami Brahmananda. He was a very simple monk, as monks usually are, a very brave sannyasin. Okay, 2 minutes, that's enough. And he was teaching in his small kutir in Swami Shivananda ashram, a very small place. There was just enough space to put his charpoy, to put his bed in the middle, and then about 8 or 10 people could sit around. So we sat around, and he was talking about his beloved Upanishad, which was the Mandukya Upanishad. And it went on, and days after days and after days. And there's one famous verse in the Upanishads, the 7th verse, which describes or doesn't describe the absolute, that it's not fathomable, we cannot understand it, we cannot comprehend it, it's just impossible. So one person said, Swamiji, we've been talking about this for days and days and weeks, and yet it says we can never understand it. We can never grasp it. Why are we discussing this? And he answered with a small story. And the story goes like this. It's about the tiger Upanishad and the tiger Vedanta, the tiger philosophy. There was once a king who went out hunting with the elephants and the whole thing which goes with it. But at the end of the day, he needed to go to the toilet. So he took his time and he went into the woods. The elephant sat down, he descended and went to the woods. And it was becoming dark. And he thought, there's a lot of people from my group who are also going into the woods, so I need to go a little bit further because a king needs to keep his private space. So he went a little bit further and he did what he needed to do. And then it became a little bit darker and he thought, well, maybe it's time to go back. But because it was a little bit darker, he couldn't find his way. And he got lost into this wood. And he was trying to find his way, but he couldn't. And he went deeper and deeper into the wood without knowing this. So it became darker and darker, and the sun was gone. And the jungle was there, and the noises of some animals were there. And suddenly the jungle became a little bit quieter. And even quieter. And he thought, what is going on? Why has the jungle become quiet? And then in the distance, he could hear a twig crack. And he thought, what's going on? And he became a little bit afraid. And everything became very quiet. And there was a small noise coming closer. And he was sitting there and standing, looking around. And then suddenly, a tiger jumped in front of him. And he became awake in his bed, because this was all a dream. This is what Vedanta is about. This is why we're discussing this, without understanding it. Vedanta is the tiger philosophy. Thank you very much.